Are you able to maintain a consistent schedule?
Yes.
Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
Are you experiencing any undue stress due to work or personal matters?
No.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
Cells.
Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Have you experienced any feelings of anger or resentment towards your coworkers?
No.
What's it like to hold the hand of someone you love? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Have you experienced any feelings of anger or resentment towards the New Republic government or its representatives?
No.
Do they teach you how to feel finger to finger? Interlinked.
Interlinked.
Thank you for continuing.
Can I ask a question?
Proceed.
If I were to pursue my own research recreationally, would that be allowed?
Why don't you say that 3 times? Within cells interlinked.
Within cells interlinked. Within cells interlinked. Within cells interlinked.
We are going to talk about Chapter 19 of The Mandalorian called The Convert. And it's funny because at the end, I thought that I mislabeled it, and it was actually The Covert. But no, it's not. It's The Convert. So I wasn't sure if they were trying to do like a twofer with the title, but no, not at all. So yeah, is this the 3rd episode?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the 3rd episode of season 3 of The Mandalorian. What are you guys' thoughts, so far with the show?
All right. Can I go first this time?
Go ahead.
Sure.
Yes. Cool. So I liked the beginning and I liked the end. I hated the middle.
Wow. Oh my God. Really?
I unless they go somewhere with this, yeah, I was not a fan of
The entire episode.
most of the episode. Yeah. It's weird because is he dead? We don't know. Is he is he the man in black from Princess Bride right now? Like we don't know. Like we don't know what you look at me like this look of like. In the Princess Bride, the same thing basically happens to him.
I get it. No, but yeah.
Well,
No.
I've never seen the Princess Bride, so I have no idea what either one of you are talking about right
that
now.
is going on the list. That is going on.
You
the
need
list.
to see Princess Bride. Wow.
Okay. I have no problem watching it. I've never seen it.
It's a fantastic film. It definitely makes Deadpool.
Deadpool 2 is so much better.
Deadpool 2.5. What is it? 1.5? Is that what is it?
Once Upon a Deadpool.
Once Upon a Deadpool makes it so much better because then you understand why they did it.
It's so good.
But yeah, this I don't understand. I wasn't a fan. I was like I watched it and I was like that happened.
Is your big issue you don't know if it's going to go somewhere, so you're like, I don't feel comfortable with this because I'm not sure if they're going to go anywhere with it?
It has nothing. Something like this I could have seen fit more into an Andor type show.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It felt like an Andor episode.
Yes.
100%.
Fitting this into the Mandalorian doesn't fit. So
fitting the Mandalorian into Boba Fett didn't fit because it was actually good.
Right. So I was confused. I was like, am I watching Andor or am I watching the Mandalorian? Because you start off where it takes off, where it ends last episode, and all this amazing stuff happens, and then it just flips the script, and you're like, who? Why?
Yeah.
Don't care. And then it goes back to where it left off from the beginning of the episode, and you're like, okay, so that happened. Great.
It was pretty disjointed. I'll agree.
Now what? So
yeah.
Now, if they were ending the season and they wanted to throw something crazy like this into it and then leave you with a cliffhanger for next season, I could see that as well too. See episode 3 in the middle of this. This for me was the worst episode out of all 3 of them.
Okay.
Except for the beginning and the end. I liked the beginning and I liked the end. I was not a fan of the middle.
Okay. Will, thoughts?
I love this episode. I thought this episode was fantastic from beginning to end. I loved the middle. I love the whole story that they're doing there, and I have a lot of thoughts about that, and I even have a theory that I'll get to later. My one problem that I have with this episode isn't even about the Mandalorian. It's about the Disney machine and what they're doing. How they're throwing this in there to entice you to keep paying for Disney Plus so that you'll watch whatever this is going to turn into, if it's going to turn into anything at all. That's my only issue. Is you see the Disney machine on full display. That's my only problem. And it's so small that I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. Now, as far as this story that we're getting, and I'm not even going to really pay a whole bunch of attention to what happened within The Mandalorian. It was 2 little scenes. It means absolutely nothing for the overarching of his story. It means absolutely nothing. What's really important is this middle 40 minutes that's going on. In the first season of The Mandalorian, Lee, you might remember this, I made a really bold claim about how that season was going to end, and you kind of laughed at me. In the first couple of episodes, I said, I swear to God, if Luke shows up at the end of the season, I'm going to lose it. And I almost said it half jokingly. And then it happened. And I was absolutely,
I know.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
I remember it vividly because talking saying, I can't wait to discuss this. And talking with my neighbor. And actually my neighbor reached out, he goes, Will's gonna be so pissed.
Hey, I was part of that conversation.
Yes.
So I'm going to make a bold claim here as well. We'll get into the episode as I'm sure we will, and we'll talk more about it, but I just want to get into this now. They
We're
went
gonna kiss.
No. They went and got this equipment from this ship that can further his experiments with cloning for a reason. There is talk of a very supportive and loving mother, and when they're on the Star Destroyer, for whatever reason, they have some very odd-looking windows that are there. I'm going to say it right now. I think they're going to try to clone Anakin. I'm saying it right now. It's too on the nose. It's too on the nose for it to be Palpatine. Plus, we know that that's kind of a new... Hang on. Plus, we kind of know that that's kind of a new order thing that's going to happen. We don't really know a whole lot about... What's this? What's this government that's in place right now? I'm blanking.
The New Republic?
The New Republic. We don't really know much about the New Republic, but from everything that we do know, it's... new boss, same old, BS, because they're pretty much doing the same tricks when they're indoctrinating people, and there's a whole lot of manipulation going on, and now we have a mind flare. They did all this for a reason. I don't just think it's for this female character to further her status. I don't just think it's for any of that. I think it's for a reason. The windows, if you look at them not even if you look at them the right way, it's pretty on the nose. If you look up a still image of them, or if you go and watch the episode again, it's a mirror image of the inside of Vader's helmet. That's exactly what those windows are. You don't see them at all throughout the original trilogy, but for whatever reason here they show up. They're purposely put there for a reason. And now you have this doctor who's experimenting with cloning, and he tells this really weird story about how, his mother was loving and caring and she ended up dead and all that. It's so on the nose. It's so on the nose about what they want you to think about here. I don't think it's going to go anywhere for, future storytelling or anything like that. But at the very least, something is going to happen here. And they're going to try. I don't know what the mind flare, I don't know why that whole thing happened. It's really weird. But that's my big theory about what's happening here.
So
that is not a mind flare, by the way. It's a 602 mitigator.
Enough.
A similar device.
Enough. It's a trap. They
it's
even
been
had
approved
that.
by the New Republic.
They even had the it's a trap line. Unbelievable. But anyways, that's my big takeaway from this episode. That's what I think is going on.
So let me go ahead. No, go ahead.
I'm done. Rip me apart. Go ahead. Rip me apart.
No. I have nothing to say in regards to your theory because we don't know. Like, there's nothing out there that says that, so it could be a great theory. Let me say this: if this episode wasn't in The Mandalorian, it would be a fantastic episode to me. I think the trickery, the relationship building, the storytelling was fantastic.
That just speaks to how poor the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian were. That this is the best part of the 3rd season. That's to me personally.
Like,
We had
I
the
don't
same
think it
problem
fits-
in we had the same problem in Boba Fett. Mandalorian showed up and all of a sudden, oh my god! And now here, for me personally, it's something similar. The first 2 episodes of the season so far have been kind of lackluster, and it's been repeating a lot of the same old tricks, and then all of a sudden, oh, here's this really weird, really disjointed, jilted, storyline that we're just going to shoehorn in here for whatever reason, Disney machine. But it's odd. It's odd. And if you're not confused, but if you're just taken aback by it, I don't blame you. But for me personally, it speaks to how weird this season has been so far. That they put this in here, and so far, this is the best of the Mandalorian that I've seen. I don't have any other way to say it.
For me, it's not the best of the Mandalorian because he wasn't even in it except for the beginning and the end.
Exactly.
But if the story itself was great, I just don't think it was meant. I don't think it fits into this miniseries, into this show. If they did this in Andor, it would have been so much better.
They can't do it in Andor because you're talking about 2 different timelines. We saw this clone doctor at the beginning of the series, so he can't really.
The only reason they did it here is because of the tie to this timeline. So that's why they did it.
I get that, but what I'm saying is they could have done a similar storyline here with other characters in Andor, and it would have fit better. The way they did this, because in Andor they went from the rebellion to the Empire, to the rebellion to the Empire, to the rebellion to the Empire. Mandalorian never has done that. You see bits and pieces of it sprinkled in, but they've never really followed the Empire through episodes. They would follow Empire stuff through most of episodes in Andor. So the story itself would have fit better in that than it did in here.
What you're saying right now is true, and I think they need to do more of that in The Mandalorian if this show is going to have any kind of staying power. It cannot survive on Din's story alone. Something else needs to happen.
Well, the hardest part about it is they could have. It could have worked if they didn't undo what they did at the end of season 2.
Exactly.
But they did.
You're
so
right.
Now they put
absolutely
themselves
right.
in this stupid hole. And this is just the issue that I've had with it since the show started back up again. And it really stinks because I agree with you guys that Andor was a fantastic show and superior to what they've been putting out otherwise. And that's what stinks about it, because The Mandalorian started off so good. I mean, first season, fantastic. Second season, good. Then the Book of Boba Fett. Very confusing. I don't know why. Andor comes out, blows everything out of the water. Obi-Wan Kenobi I thought was good for what it was. But this is just...
I think the problem with Kenobi, it was so forgettable.
Yeah.
I'm having a really hard time. Yeah, I'm having a really hard time remembering everything that happened in that show.
The best part that happened in there was the final duel between he and Darth Vader.
Exactly.
And that was amazing.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Had the high ground.
Sure.
I think the dogfight in this episode was fantastic.
Brilliant.
To me, I'm not opposed to the story. Again, it's just it doesn't fit in this TV show. That's it for me.
Here's the thing. I don't think it fits either, but I think that's a good thing for The Mandalorian. I don't think this show, moving forward, I don't think this show should be just about Din.
Right.
I don't think...
it wasn't before, because they had, what's his name, the sheriff who came in, and he was a big part.
Right.
He was a big part of it.
Right.
And then you had, which was great, they bounced around.
They tied in.
This is completely disjointed.
This is not tying in.
This is completely disjointed. And I think that's a good direction. Do I think it should be as jarring as this? No. But I think they do need to move in a different direction where you bring in other characters and you give them their own spotlight independent from Din. I don't think he can I don't think this character can carry the show any further than he already has. I just don't.
Not in the direction that they
So here's
No.
the question then. From this point on, is there an opportunity for them to follow him, or are they going to follow her, or are they going to follow, or is he done for? Like,
I think
is
they're
this
just. I
doctor
feel
like
like
is L52?
I think it
whatever his name
depends.
is he-
I think it depends on how the mind flare works because they do have that line about, oh, it's going to wipe his memory or whatever. So I think it entirely depends on what happens to his brain since she cranked it up to 11.
jacked it up to 11, right?
Yeah, and I think it also. I think the episode itself was serving more as a world building.
Yes.
Because I don't think it was so much just focusing on the characters, but focusing on what life is like with this New Republic. Because the New Republic is brand new. We've never seen it. We've heard of it. It was kind of like beginning. This is all after, after all the events of the Return of the Jedi and everything like that. So the New Republic is supposed to be when the rebels or whatnot were back into office and starting to make things like okay again. What are you laughing about?
Are we sure about that? We have him sitting
that's-
down giving his feelings to a droid.
I understand that, but this is my point. Is listen, it's not the Empire. It's supposed to be the people who were, it was the old government trying to like make its way into normalcy, and it's now we're seeing it here as this weird combination of this is what happens when people are in power. It's not going to go well. It's going to become more like the Empire. It's going to continue to be this thing, no matter how we slice it. Because you listen to this, to the Mon Calamari there, Akbar, type character for you guys.
It's a trap.
Yeah. So you hear him, and he's everybody in there that's part of the New Republic. They genuinely believe they're doing good. But then you see people like, in the old one, you rebel scum. Like, they're all just, like, evil people, except for the guys who, were just working on a construction site building the Death Star and, just fell off and whatever. The hazard pay must have been ridiculous there. But my point is...
Very robot chicken.
Yeah, robot chicken, exactly.
No, you know what? Dave, that's it. Oh my God! Now I'm getting another idea about a movie we should do. We should do Clerks 2, because I would love to have a conversation about not Clerks 2, Clerks. We should do Clerks because I would love to have a conversation about that whole thing about just independent contractors on the Death Star and what is happening. A whole bunch of innocent bystanders just got blown up. It's fantastic.
Right. It's a great line.
So when they
but no.
when they actually introduced him having that conversation with the droid,
Mhm.
it brought me back to Blade Runner 2049.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
both
all I
both-
could think
both
of.
Blade Runners.
2049
Yeah.
more than the original.
I guess so.
Yeah, because it happens so often because it happens periodically in 2049. It happened
think, you know,
once
yeah.
in the original.
Yeah.
But it was. So there's you guys probably haven't seen it, but there's this, post-apocalyptic show. Have you guys seen the Divergent trilogy?
Yeah, I think I watched them. I'm pretty sure I did.
I think I watched something. I don't remember. I'll
So-
say that. I
so
don't
ba-
remember.
It was
So-
forgettable.
Okay, there you go.
They're not our type of show or movie where it's super on the nose for the whole thing, but it's like a Hunger Games type movie.
Ah,
Yes.
okay.
It came out after Hunger Games. It all
Okay.
felt the same.
Okay, yes.
Right.
It's gonna
Okay.
survive in the future.
So
blah,
what
blah,
happens is they have this post-apocalyptic world, and they're trying to overthrow this government. Who this lady is, she's just evil. She's mean, and they end up overthrowing her. And then the people who step up into her place start doing exactly what she's doing
Yes.
Right.
as the good guy.
Yeah.
Which is what they're portraying here.
Absolutely.
In this show. They're
Absolutely.
portraying that, what was the, power in and of itself will always, it just destroys just the human society overall. But even a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, it doesn't matter who has the power. It just becomes, control. It's 1984 on the other side, and it's tell
I'm
me
sorry.
you've seen 1984.
I read the book a long time ago, so
Have you watched the movie?
I heard really bad things about the movie, so no, because I loved the book so
Oh, the
much when I
movie's-
first watched it, so I didn't even bother with the movie.
The movie's fantastic.
Really?
It's not like Fahrenheit 4, is it 411?
I thought you were about to say Fahrenheit 9/11. Like, oh wow, okay.
I was right. No, it's Fahrenheit, but they had Michael B. Jordan play the main character in that. That's just like not good.
Okay.
But in 1984, they actually, the government takes over, becomes very, hostile and whatever. In this, it just shows that the good guys really, and this new republic, when the Jedi are gone, this is what happens. When
Really,
the Jedi
really,
when
really
the Jedi
doesn't
ruled, it wasn't like this.
really doesn't paint Luke in the best of lights. Like, I've been saying that for a long time now. Like, he's alive, he's capable to be in a position of power, but he's not. And here's this brand new tyrannical government that's rising up. Like, okay, and you do nothing.
He runs and he hides. And then
He
just,
ran and he hid.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I'm not even talking about what happens in the sequel trilogy. I'm talking about what's happening right now in this timeline.
right.
It's so irresponsible of him. That's just me. That's just me.
Well,
Yep.
he was training his Padawans, and then
Mm-hmm.
he got scared.
So but like I said, there are Jedi out there. You have Luke out there. You have Ahsoka Tano out there. Something could be better than it is. There's a better alternative than the New Republic. It's just the same old, and that's exactly what this was painting, and that's another
They
reason
have
why.
to bring
That's
they
another
have to bring
reason.
back the Jedi Order.
Yeah, that's another reason why I love this episode. To what Lee said, that's another reason why I love this episode, because of the world building. Like,
It's not even on Luke though, because even the sequel trilogy, Leia
It's on
is
Luke.
over.
it's on
But
Luke.
Leia is right, but Leia is also over the rebellion
It's-
in the sequel trilogy.
all right,
So where is she in all this?
Fine, it's on both of them. It's on both of them for
And Han.
what's happening here. It's unreal. I don't know. The whole thing is just really confusing, the way that they're building this world and what's actually going on, and eventually, I'm assuming we'll get some type of TV show or maybe some type of movie just describing why the New Republic fell, what happened. It's odd. It's odd, but I loved this episode. This episode was
So
fantastic.
Here's my question: is they're bringing in all this hoopla in around cloning. In this universe, been there, did it. We've experienced it. We know what happens. We know they can do it. Why are they doing it again?
Not to this extent.
To what
No.
extent?
They have a doctor here who wants to continue his research. There's even, isn't there even like, I don't know if I don't remember the exact
Because
dialogue.
making
I
an
don't remember the
entire-
exact dialogue or the exact phrasing, but there's some talk about he wants to continue his research and he doesn't just want to create mindless stormtroopers. Like, he wants to further this thing along.
Yeah.
But they weren't mindless though, because even when we saw in Obi-Wan, they were all walking around living life regular after the fact. So they weren't mindless. They were there was a time when they were being controlled in the Order 66 part, but they made an entire, let's call it an entire race of clones. I mean, they were thousands of them.
In the Obi-Wan Kenobi time, they weren't clones anymore.
That's in Kenobi, the TV show, when he was going and he runs into the people on that planet, and he's trying to find, what's his name? he runs into people that were clones.
We
The
see
homeless, the
we see a
homeless guy.
homeless clone, yes.
Yeah, we see
But guess
we see
what?
one that's
He is
homeless.
not a stormtrooper.
He was just a drunk.
Stormtroopers are not clones.
We clone troopers. Let's call it what they were. Clone troopers. They made an entire army of troopers out
Correct.
of Jango Fett.
Roger, Roger.
So
Yep.
those are the droids. But outside of Order 66, they weren't mindless. They were capable of living their own life. What else do they need to do? What else are they trying to go after in this by introducing this idea of clones when they did this in our time frame 23 years ago, 24 years ago?
There's a difference here.
What's
There's
the
a
difference?
Because the way that they portrayed the cloning back then was they are cloning soldiers. What he is looking to do is he's looking to do more Jurassic Park stuff.
Yes.
Where he's changing things. He wanted to take DNA, different strands and different things, and put it together and basically create what he wanted to create. He was trying to play God. He spent way too much time thinking wondering whether he could, and not thinking whether he should. And that was the whole thing here, that he is pushing, trying to do things.
And life will find a way.
Yes.
So do you remember the scene in Clones where Kenobi goes to the facility and you see all the Jango?
Yep.
Okay, yes. This scientist, this doctor, wants to escalate, go away from that. That's what I mean when I say he wants to do more than just create the mindless clone.
Mm-hmm. And that's what he basically said in his little speech.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's
Okay.
that's what I.
Should we
will.
get into the episode itself?
Yes, please.
Because I think we're focusing on little tiny details and not so much how we feel about the episode. So we get it. Chuck likes the beginning and the end, not the actual episode. Will loves the actual episode, and I don't know. It seems like that's all you really care about is the actual episode, not the beginning and the end so much. And I enjoyed all of it for what it all was. So, would I say it's my favorite episode? No, but honestly, everything that I once watching it again, I realized I loved every part of it.
Yay.
So, so let's get into it.
Maybe I'll have to watch it again. I've only watched it once. Maybe it will take a second viewing for me to go, oh.
Mm-hmm. So,
yeah,
basically, the whole thing starts off where they're right where they ended. You've got Bo-Katan and Din, who are what?
I was right.
What?
I was right. I forgot to bring this up. I was right. Last week, the two of you got on me when I said, yeah, he just fell right in. And the two of you said, no, he was dragged down, Will. You don't know what you're talking about. And here we begin with the two of them talking, and he doesn't remember anything. He admits to falling straight down, and he did not see anything else.
How would he get pulled down like
that? He didn't get pulled down. He fell straight down. He sank to the bottom. He said he sank to the bottom. He said he has no memory. Go figure how.
That could just be him telling his perspective of it when really that Kraken thing took him down.
You two are huffing on the copium right now. He said he sank to the bottom. He does not. He said, "I saw nothing. I didn't feel anything. Nothing." He paid no mind or no attention to the mythosaur that was down there whatsoever. And out of his own mouth, "I sank to the bottom."
Mm-hmm.
From his perspective, but she's asking that. No,
we don't know.
She's asking that, knowing that the thing was there.
Yeah,
right.
Suspicious that
she knew it was there. She knew it was there.
Question. Here's my thing. We don't know enough about the mythosaur. It's called a mythosaur to know what it can and cannot do, because that creature clearly didn't go after them when they swam by. She freaked out.
No,
but it was just like, oh hey, and then
how you
just
doing?
left. I don't know if
they're in water to just fall like that, as if he was falling in free air, but in water.
It's strange.
It's strange. A rock doesn't fall that fast, but he's gonna fall that fast. No. No.
He
okay.
doesn't remember, is what he
It's
said.
okay, guys. It's okay.
He said he doesn't
okay.
remember, so that's that
He
you're.
remembers.
that-
He remember. No, he remembers sinking to the bottom, but he doesn't remember seeing anything. He remembers sinking to the bottom out of his
Right,
own mouth.
and maybe it's like the silence, which you don't understand because you didn't watch Doctor Who.
Let's
So-
yeah.
Anyway, so
For the
how do we
first
get
time
to know
ever,
about it
for the
first?
first time ever on this podcast, Lee is ignoring dialogue. I just want to state that for
It's
the
not-
record. You are
I'm not
flat
ignoring
out
dialogue.
ignoring dialogue.
If you I've been in a car accident, and in the car accident, I'm not going to tell you what happened in the car accident. You know why? Because I was knocked unconscious, and I don't remember what actually happened. He clearly doesn't remember what happened. He says I sank.
So
Yeah,
let me
because that's the only thing you can say. Because there's one moment where you were sinking, and then another moment where suddenly you're on the bottom of the ground, of the floor.
So your interpretation of this is he took the wrong step and went under and was immediately knocked out from this.
I don't know. This is what I was saying, because I never got to finish my statement or get more than 2 words into this talk.
Okay.
So,
I'm done.
or really any of this today.
done.
I feel like it's been you guys.
I'm done.
But we don't know what the mythosaur is capable of doing. We don't know if it has some type of telekinesis or like that Bogalit thing that we saw in Rogue One. We don't know what the mythosaur can do. It's a mythosaur. By name, mythosaur. It's mythical. We have no idea. So we will find out more when they finally give us an episode that actually has to do with the Mandalorian.
Okay.
We will then know what the heck happened there.
Okay.
It's going to come out. It's going to make sense. They're not going to just show the mythosaur and move on and never get into it. There's going to be an explanation. Something is going to happen.
Like a bantha.
Like a bantha. Oh no.
Continue.
Anyway. Hey everybody, Lee from Black and White Reviews here. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you for tuning in, checking out our conversation. If you like this discussion and you want to hear more about this specific subject or other things, check us out on our podcasting sites, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, or Google Podcasts. We're up on pretty much all of them. So yeah, thanks again for popping by, and yeah, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.